The U.S. military perhaps should be put in overall charge if BP can't stop the leak and can't stop it right away. He's joining us live from Capitol Hill, along with our national security contributor, Fran Townsend, and our senior political analyst, David Gergen. They're here in the Situation Room. Are you getting any indication, Senator Nelson, that this top kill operation is working?
Prayerfully, we are hopeful, but we don't know any more than what you know. And, you know, if this doesn't work and they have to go to that thing that David was just talking about, cutting off the riser pipe right at the wellhead, then, of course, all of that oil is going to be gushing out. They better figure out how they're going to get that top down over it, or otherwise the thing's going to gush all the more, because at least that riser is crimped now where it falls over, and not all of the oil is gushing out that could be coming out that pipe.
Well, we certainly hope that doesn't happen. You caused quite a stir, Senator Nelson, by suggesting maybe the U.S. military should take charge of this. Why would the military, the U.S. military, be better suited to deal with this issue than the oil experts at BP?
Because it hasn't worked. And if this one doesn't work, and we've got to wait another 2 to 3 months until August, and all that oil is going to gush out and basically cover up the Gulf, then we better take the organization that has the capability of bringing in all the resources, as it did after the first Gulf War, when there was 4 inches of oil on top of the Gulf, that Saddam Hussein had uncorked all of those tankers. We better use that and unleash the ingenuity of America to see if there's some way of stopping this gusher.
All right, let me bring Fran Townsend and David Gergen into this conversation. Senator, don't go away. Fran, is the U.S. military, based on your experience as a former White House Homeland Security advisor to President Bush, better suited to deal with this than what's going on right now?
I don't think so, Wolf. Look, we have extraordinary capability in the United States military. The situation at the depth of 5,000 feet in the U.S. Gulf is quite different than the situation with the oil in the Persian Gulf after the Gulf War that Senator Nelson refers to. And we've got to get out of the habit, Wolf. This is a tragic catastrophe, but we've got to get out of the habit. You know, we've got troops committed in Afghanistan and Iraq. We've got security concerns in places like Yemen and Somalia, not to mention Iran and North Korea. It cannot be every time this nation faces a crisis, we say the only capability and we're going to call on them is the U.S. military. This is not a mission for which they are resourced, and it is not a mission that they anticipated having to respond to.
Well, let me get Senator Nelson to react to that. And Senator Nelson, specifically, if the military can't do it, I suspect you believe the military can. Fran is skeptical about that. There is what's called the Department of Homeland Security. Aren't they supposed to be in charge of things like this?
Well, the president ought to take charge, and he ought to name whomever. If he doesn't want the U.S. military, then there's got to be a solid figure like a retired General Colin Powell, someone that can get in. It's true, we've got a war in Afghanistan and we've got a war in Iraq, but we've got a war in the Gulf of Mexico now. And we've got to get this thing stopped.
I'm anxious to hear what David Gergen thinks about this, because you served under 4 presidents in the White House, and there is a crisis right now, an enormous crisis.
I agree with Senator Nelson on this, and I was at the Pentagon this afternoon. Wolf didn't have many conversations about this. They're not looking for work over there, and they will tell you up front, we don't have the capability to go down 5,000 feet below the ground to do anything like this. Fran's absolutely right about that. What they do have is they're enormously good at coordinating things. They're enormously good at taking big projects and coordinating them. And to me, the analogy might well be the Manhattan Project, in which we had General Leslie Grove, who actually coordinated and ran it, but he had to go out and get Robert Oppenheimer and all these scientists to figure out how to make it. You know, the military couldn't do that, but it was a great combination that succeeded. And here, it does seem to me that if this top kill fails, the president has to take charge of this. He does need to have somebody who, there's no point person now in the administration. Indeed, there's no point person.
Well, there's Admiral Thad Allen, the Coast Guard Commandant, is a federal official in charge.
But is he really in charge, or is Ken Salazar in charge, or is there somebody, is Rahm Emanuel trying to run this out of the White House? Is the president trying to run it? I can't tell. And I sure as heck think the American people can't tell.
Well, one final question to you, Senator Nelson. Who's in charge from your perspective right now?
Well, I think David Gergen has made the case very eloquently. The president has got to name his person so that everybody knows that this is the person that is going to bring all the resources to solve this problem.
All right, we're going to continue to watch this story. Senator Nelson, thanks very much. Fran Davis.